Welcome to the Maxwell Leadership Executive Podcast, where our goal is to help you increase your reputation as a leader, to increase your ability to influence others, and to increase your ability to fully engage your team to deliver remarkable results. Hi, I'm Perry Holly, a Maxwell Leadership Facilitator and Coach.
And I'm Chris Cody, Executive Vice President, Maxwell Leadership. Welcome and thank you for joining. If you want to download today's learner guide, if you have a question or a comment for us, we'd love for you to visit maxwellleadership.com/podcast. Even more important than that, we just want to say thank you for listening and for sharing this content and taking this and having conversations with your team.
So many nice comments.
So many nice comments.
Yes,
so we really appreciate that. Continue to do that. It's what we do this for. We want it to be a value add, and we believe that every individual out there deserves to be led well, and this is a great tool to be able to do that. Well, today's topic is titled, How to Develop Resilience in Yourself and Others. I think this is a topic that is being talked about. I would say that probably over the next several years, it's going to be talked about even more.
I agree.
Coming out of the last couple of years and what we have gone through. I think it's an important trait for leaders to possess this themselves, but also their team, because it's going to help you guys work through tough times and setbacks. And so we need to understand that. And I think when you have resilience and you understand it, you're better equipped to handle those challenges and the uncertainties that come with times, economic times, with leadership challenges, whatever it might be that you are facing. I think being resilient is going to be something we want to talk about. So these definitely can be trying times for leaders. There's a lot of uncertainty, and there are challenges at every turn, and we love challenges, and we're motivated by it. But we need to talk about how do we become resilient as a leader in order to face all of those things.
Well, we're all going to face tough things, and I just find that resilient people find a way through them, and sometimes even get better coming through them, and they don't let, even though they do, there's no guarantee you're not going to suffer and have a hard time. You do come through it, and you bounce back from it. My definition had always been the ability to rebound from tough or challenging circumstances. So the kind of way I thought about it. I was reading a Navy SEAL, Eric Grietens, I think he was also in politics in the Midwest, that he wrote a book called Resilience, and it's really a letters that he's exchanging with another Navy SEAL that he's trying to encourage. And what I took away from Grietens' explanation of resilience was he called it virtue that enables people to move through hardship and become better. And I really like that. He went on to say that resilience is the key to a well-lived life. If you want happiness or success, you absolutely have to be resilient to do that. So it's easy, I think, in our world to get caught in the mindset that I deserve a hardship-free life. Why can't things be easier? We find ourselves in uncharted waters or doing things that aren't any of our, the circumstances around us are changing. The global pandemic, I can't control that. It left with uncertainties. Now we're in uncertain economies, what's going on. But developing this resilience to me has been, how do I move through these things and become better? And he even says happier because of it. So that's where I was going.
Yeah, I think it's a differentiator for us that are leading during these times of understanding and learning how to become resilient. And I think when you do that, it allows you to adapt to change, overcome obstacles, allows you to lead by example, maintain focus, build trust, and I think the most important one on this list, manage stress, which is a big part of that. And so by you as a leader developing it, you also then be able to create a culture of resilience within your team, which will then in turn not only help the team, but also help those individuals. And that may be affected by challenges and opportunities, not only in the organization, but even maybe personally. We talk a lot on here about helping develop people personally and professionally. And this is one way to be able to do this. And I think it'll help the team. So let's share some ways of how to become more resilient.
And I've kind of put it in the title. I want you thinking about yourself for sure, but this is something I think leaders can really teach, to your point about teach others. You're going to see people that react in different ways, some positively, some negatively, in the dynamics, the circumstances that are going on around them. So how can we help them? And number one is to cultivate, develop a growth mindset. If you're not familiar with mindset and Carol Dweck's work on that about a fixed or a growth mindset, you can. I think we have another podcast on that. But the growth mindset is really a person who believes that I can get better. My intelligence is not fixed. My abilities are not fixed. They can grow. And you think about if you're continue growing and improving your skills, your abilities, if you embrace that growth mindset, that when you face these challenges. I think I shared on the podcast not too long ago about I was going through a really hard time, a lot of expectations on me, a lot of demands, and I just thought, why is it so hard? I just thought maybe I should just quit. Maybe I'm in the wrong line. And then it hit me that this is what resilience is about. In the statement from Jim Rohn that said, stop wishing things were easier, wish you were better. And that, to me, is the growth mindset. It could be hard for a moment, but if you're growing and learning, you'll get better and you'll come through it. And that's what I want the growth mindset to mean.
If someone has a fixed mindset and believes that they can't grow and improve, it's going to be very difficult for them to be resilient and to lead through certain challenges and times. And we talk a lot about having this growth mindset versus a goal mindset. And I love the fact that, man, if we're going to be resilience, it starts with ourselves. That aligns with all the principles that we teach, but you got to be growing in that every single day. Well, number two, and this is something that, man, I want everybody to just really listen in here, because I think this is so important no matter what level you lead. Practice self-care. Okay, so number two, how do we develop resilience in yourself and others? Practice self-care. You have to take care of yourself in order to be resilient. That includes enough sleep. I'm not going to give you a certain number of hours because it's just enough for you personally. What do you need?
But you probably need more than you think.
Probably need more than you think. Are you eating well? Are you exercising? Are you taking breaks when you need? I know that the older I get, I can't imagine what it's like for you. But there are times that I have to just be like, do I need to go take a nap?
Yeah, right.
Do I need to take a little power nap? But man, and even sometimes when I'm at home on the weekends, or even I take a nap, I'm like, man, that was awesome. But you're right. We probably need more than we are aware of, but you got to take care of yourself. And when you prioritize your self-care and what that looks like, man, you'll be amazed at how you're able to handle stress and challenges a lot differently.
Yes, and I didn't see that coming, but
I completely. For those that maybe aren't watching on YouTube and are listening, Perry is still baffled by that comment. He will talk to me about that later. He will hold me accountable for that. A previous lesson.
I actually like that. That was really clever, which doesn't normally happen by you. So.
I love it.
Okay, self-care. This is personal. Practicing self-care is really something I've struggled with. I get busy. I'm focused. I am running hard. I'm traveling. It's just so tempting to not get up and do the things you talked about. We joke about, the airline says, put your mask on first. That is really good advice. You're no good to anyone going through the tough and difficult challenges of your business, of your life, at your home. You're no good to anyone if you're not taking care of you. So it starts with the rest and how you treat yourself. Totally believe that what you said was exactly right there.
And let me just also, exercise is extremely important. I know you're a big advocate on getting your steps. And so whether it's walking, whether it's doing something, exercise under the weight that we carry as human beings and leaders, I just would encourage you to think about the self-care, to be active in some way, and you'll be amazed at how that helps reduce the stress and makes you more resilient.
Was that a pun? You said the weight we carry? Yeah, that was.
That's good.
Good job.
On your game
I
today.
am. Well, you got me focused now.
Yeah.
Number three, we would think about being a person more resilient and teaching resilience was to build a support system. So you think about taking care of self-care, but it is a support system for you, having a network of, supportive colleagues, people that we bounce things off of. Our team acts like that a lot. Do I have mentors? Do I have friends? Like you said earlier, we cope with a lot of stress, a lot of things that are on us. I need people around me. I need to be able to share. I need to be able to talk about that. Are there people that offer you encouragement that look? We often talk about. I know I teach a lot lately on the inner circle. Do I have people that I can lean on when I'm struggling? That can tell me the hard thing. That can tell me the good thing. That encourage me. That lift me up. That also challenge me. But I think it's a lot to have a listening ear, someone that will pay attention and care for you when you're in a tough place. So, and not only self-care, but also having a support network.
I love that. Not only for yourself, but also for your team. And maybe even as an organization, are there outside connections and vendors that you can just put in place that would build a support system that, at their discretion, they can go and use or tap into those. And so just be thinking about that from a support system. I think it's key to it. Number 4, learn from mistakes. Resilient leaders view mistakes as learning opportunities. We view it the exact same way. We're in alignment with that. And when leaders make mistakes, they can use that experience to improve the skills and help them avoid those mistakes in the future. Just make sure you're learning from them, and don't be hesitant about it. You're going to make mistakes. Allow mistakes. I would say even encourage mistakes unless it becomes a fatal flaw for the organization. But what are we learning from them? And as you learn from them, you'll become more resilient.
Yeah, I think about almost like psychological safety on the team. Are mistakes okay, or do I need to hide it? I can't possibly tell you I've made a mistake because I don't know how you're going to react. So feeling safe and like I belong, it's okay to share where I'm struggling, makes a lot of the ability to go through tough times a lot easier. I like that, it's really enough pressure right now to get things done quickly, to keep the business moving, to keep things happening. But I don't want people holding back or hiding things from me. I need to know that it's okay to make. John calls it failing forward, and we want to make sure that we learn from every mistake or setback that we have. But a great way to get through with resilience is to know that I don't have to carry more stress or weight because of a mistake. I can just share it, learn from it, and move forward. Number 5, we talked about on a couple of podcasts, but about embracing change. I find that if you're adaptable, what a great word for a leader, to really be adaptable and open to change, you just become more resilient. You're not thrown off your game because something in the plan changed, something in what your customers do, something in the market. You're able to embrace change. You adjust. I think you said this recently about adjusting your plans. The vision doesn't change, but the plans and strategies may change to get there. And by being able to do that, I don't get overrun by the changes that are happening. I can be adaptable to that.
There are a lot of changes that will happen because of you, but then also without you. And so we need, and to you, that to you is probably the one that may impact us the most. And so I think it was a former military leader that said, if you don't like change, you'll like irrelevance a whole lot less. And so we need to be adaptable. We need to remain adaptable. And by doing that, we'll be able to overcome a lot of things that we are currently facing. Well, number 6 is to stay positive. This is something that we can control. And as we think about developing this in ourselves and our teams, we absolutely control this. A positive attitude can help us face challenges, can help us understand and work through setbacks. It gives you kind of a positive view of it, allows you to respond and to stay motivated and to bounce back during some of those failures or setbacks that you may have.
Well, I love that, and definitely your attitude and your positive, optimistic outlook going through even tough times can help. I'll go back to Eric Grietens and his book on resilience. One of the quotes that I'd captured there, he says, "Don't expect a time in your life when you will be free of change, free of struggle, or free from worry." He said, to be resilient, you must understand that your objective is not to come to rest, because there is no rest.
Wow.
I think oftentimes we think that, I'll just get. I had someone call this morning. The guy said, I just got to get to the end of March. And if I can just get through March, it'll be better. And I hated to tell him there's an old proverb that says, behind this mountain are more mountains. Because when
April's coming.
Yeah, that's right. When I get to my next call, he'll say, I got to get through April. Your objective is not to come to rest. Your objective is to, and this is another Eric Grietens, he said, use what hits you to change your trajectory to a positive direction. And he said resilience is often endurance with direction. I love that.
That is so good.
Whatever hits you, it's just it may knock you off path for a moment, but it just changes your trajectory into a path where you endure. And when you do these 5 or 6 things we talked about, I think it really helps us to be people of resilience, that we actually shine brightest when things are hardest.
I love that. Don't just endure with direction. That is strong. I love that. Well, as we wrap up today this is just scratching the surface. We have more to come on this topic, not only for you to consume through podcasts, but also we're going to be working on some corporate training that we'll be able to bring this to you. And what makes me think, as I wrap up here, is we had one of our newest executive facilitators and coaches come in and talk about resilience. A former military individual, extremely competent and strong when it comes to delivering content and from his leadership experiences. And as I was thinking about this lesson, one way to wrap up today, he gave us this illustration. And he said, hey, when you're sitting on a chair, you got the 4 legs, no problem. Those 4 legs could be certain areas of your life. They could be your personal life, your professional life, your spiritual life, your whatever, family, right? So just pick 4 legs. And he said, if you get completely out of whack and maybe one of the legs completely is awry, you can make it. You can be resilient. You can work through all those things and as you balance on those 3 legs. But man, if you let the 3rd leg get swiped out from underneath you, it's over. And in essence, he was really talking about how do we keep balance around each one of those 4 legs or those areas of our life. And I think it's in direct alignment with what you talked about with these principles of having a growth mindset, self-care, have a support team, learn from our mistakes, embrace the change, and then stay positive. So you take those 6 principles and you say, do I have those 6 principles in the 4 areas of my life? And am I working on all different stages, no doubt, in different places? But we got to make sure that we're keeping that balance. I know balance is a hard word for us to talk about as leaders. I struggle with it. But as we have that balance, when we're able to do that, I think, and his point was very well taken by me and our team, was when you have that, you can be extremely resilient no matter what's going on one of those legs of the chair. So just keep that in mind. You can develop resilience, not only personally, but in your team. And one way to do it is to think about these 6 principles that Perry put together for us today.
Terrific. Well, thank you, Chris. And thank you all for joining. If you want to get that learner guide with these points, you can do that, as well as leave us a question or a comment or learn about our offerings. You can see all that at maxwellleadership.com/podcast. We love hearing from you. Very grateful you spend this time with us. That's all today from the Maxwell Leadership Executive Podcast.